NBA's all-time leading scorer with over 10,000 assists, with the most points in playoff history.
NBA's best passer in the league today. When many people view LeBron James,
top 5 passer of all time,
they don't see him as a pure scorer.
Is LeBron James the GOAT? Without wasting any more time, guys, let's get straight into it.
We have a strong argument, though. Well, certainly a lot stronger than many want to acknowledge. LeBron can be considered the gold standard for many different basketball attributes: athleticism, reliability, longevity, and overall productivity. LeBron is the all-time leading scorer in NBA playoff history.
So you're telling me that his physical abilities is through the roof. You're telling me his technical ability is through the roof. You're telling me that his longevity is through the roof. Okay, I'll let him carry on.
In other words, the most important games of the NBA season. LeBron is the only player in NBA history to have over 30,000 points and 10,000 assists, which strengthens his argument for the label of greatest all-around player in NBA history. He has a realistic chance of ending his career as the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and he's arguably the NBA
already is. NBA's all-time leading scorer with over 10,000 assists, with the most points in playoff history.
NBA's best passer in the league today. When many people view LeBron James,
top 5 passer of all time,
they don't see him as a pure scorer. But LeBron actually has quite a few statistics that supports his case as the greatest scorer in NBA history.
Bro, I don't know, stop the video, but look at this dunk. Bro, this guy, oh my days.
Quite a few statistics that supports his case as the greatest scorer in NBA history. Beyond the fact that LeBron is the NBA's all-time leading playoff scorer and could eventually be the all-time leading scorer overall, he is also the only player in NBA history to average at least 25 points per game for 13 consecutive seasons, a streak that is still active at an incredible 15 seasons. He also has the most consecutive games in NBA history with at least 10 points. LeBron's streak is at 900.
That stat to me is useless. Look, we can get lost in these number debates or these number discussions if we don't put context into those numbers. The most games played where he scored at least 10 points, that to me is irrelevant. I mean, who cares? I mean, good for you. But the other stuff, like having 30,000 points, yes, he's played for longer than other players. So let's say, for example, Michael Jordan. He's played longer than Jordan, for example, but to still get to 30,000 points, to have that longevity, that needs to count for something. Over 10,000 assists. What other player do you know is in that? How can we say, in that circle of 25,000, 30,000 points, and is also who is in the top 5 of points scored and within the top 10 of assists. Now that stuff matters. The whole 10 points, most games, etc. That's useless to me.
128 games, which is significantly higher than the second place streak of Michael Jordan at 866 games.
Doesn't matter to me.
LeBron's streak is also still very active. So if LeBron continues to play at the same level we saw from him last season, this streak is going to get a lot longer. All of this while being an efficient scorer, shooting over 50% from the field for his career.
Yeah.
As far as overall resume and stats are concerned, when it's all said and done, LeBron may be the overwhelmingly clear choice as the greatest player ever. As a 6'9", 260-pound freight train in his prime, he is the standard of the NBA's elite modern athlete. Beyond the stats and build are the iconic moments of LeBron's career, in which he rose his game to the next level.
Especially the 2015 playoffs, all of those playoffs with Cleveland pretty much. And then you go into 2018 where that team, it was like LeBron and co. It was LeBron and co. And what LeBron was able to pull off, especially against the Raptors, especially against the Celtics, that was an amazing display of basketball. But then on the other hand, if you're going to talk about the greatest moments of LeBron James, you have to talk about 2011. You have to talk about, some of the meltdowns LeBron teams have had. You have to talk about 2014, for example. That's the thing with LeBron. As great as he is, in my opinion, the most complete basketball player of all time, as great as he is, there are so many dents to his legacy Now, the thing to me is that those dents do not necessarily mean that, for example, he isn't as great of a player. It just means that in terms of like clutchness, he loses a few points. But again, even to me, it's like we're talking about the greatest player of all time and not who was able to win the most with the best team, for example.
In the second half of LeBron's career, he's been giving us jaw-dropping performances whether his team wins or loses. In the 2015 NBA Finals, they gave the MVP to the guy defending LeBron, Andre Iguodala, for his effort in slowing down the King, despite the fact that LeBron...
And slowing down the King is so disgusting. Slowing down the King is so disgusting. And I think that was back-to-back years. The NBA is crazy. 2014, Kawhi Leonard won it because he slowed down LeBron. 2015, Iguodala won it because he slowed down LeBron. Like, what type of idiocracy is this? You're giving... those Finals MVP should have never went to Iguodala or Kawhi Leonard. You're giving a Finals MVPs to guys that slowed down LeBron James, and LeBron still averaged over 20 points in those series? Jesus, that has to be a vendetta or something against LeBron.
LeBron still averaged 35 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists. I get that LeBron shot 39.8% from the field and that it wasn't his most efficient series, but when a guy puts up 35, 13, and 9, and the guy defending him...
35, sorry, I said over 20 points. 35! Is that slowing him down? 35? That's a disgrace.
Gets MVP for slowing him down, well then that LeBron guy must be pretty dang good. In this series, he also became the first player in NBA history to lead the finals in scoring, rebounds, and assists. In the 2016 finals, LeBron historically led his Cavs to beat the 73-9 Warriors after coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the series. In that series, he became the first player in NBA playoff history to lead both teams in all 5 major statistical categories: points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. It was arguably the most all-around dominant finals performance in league history.
Facts.
In the 2017 finals, he became the first player in NBA history to average a triple-double in a finals series. In the 2018 finals, he led the Cavs in 4 of the 5 major statistical categories: points, assists, blocks, and steals. All of these career stats and ridiculous playoff numbers LeBron achieved in modern NBA basketball, where generally speaking, players are faster than ever, taller than ever, and stronger than ever before. Not only has he dominated this modern era, but it's been sustained dominance. James has finished as a top 5 league MVP finalist in 12 of the last 14 seasons. Lasting dominance...
Stop. Say that again, please.
Sustained dominance. James has finished as a top 5 league MVP finalist in 12 of the last 14 seasons.
So, in over a decade, this guy has been able to finish within the top 5 of NBA MVP votes, let's say, for example. And I've talked about this before in the fact that I don't want to completely disregard accolades, but the measure that we use to quantify accolades, in my opinion, is not at all correct. Because, for example, you have a guy like LeBron who hasn't been able to win the MVP for some time now. But even so, he has 4, which is already a lot. But he's not won it for a long time now. And this video is probably done in 2018, 2019. And for that sustained period of time, he was always within that conversation. And to me, I'm sorry, for example, if a guy wins 3 MVPs in a row and then, you know, his game just completely dips and no one talks about him anymore, what LeBron's done is, to me, way more impressive because you're, as he said, you're sustaining that output, you're sustaining that excellence in playing ability. That is so important, and that's something we need to quantify more. It's not just in basketball, in sports overall. I've talked about this in football. You guys, American watchers, probably don't know, but there's this player called Xavi, and Xavi, yeah, he's never won the Ballon d'Or, but he was always within the conversations. He's even finished above Ronaldo in some years. Him and Iniesta. So that has to count for something. Just winning the award alone, yes, winning the award is impressive, and we should give them praise. But being in the conversation to win the award, being very close to winning the award year after year after year after year, sustaining that caliber of play, to me, should not go unnoticed. And I'm glad Johnny Arnett brought this point up.
Lasting dominance to that degree is unprecedented. Context is also extremely important when looking at LeBron's career. Sure, his naysayers will talk about how he's 3-6 in the NBA Finals, but that is honestly one of the most...
That's 4-6 now, but still the biggest dent to his legacy. 4-6 is like, ew. As much as I love LeBron, every time I hear that stat, it's just like, kind of makes me want to puke a little bit. 4-6 is disgusting. I don't even, But again, context needs to be added. I would say 2007, there wasn't really much LeBron could do. That Spurs team swept them, and they really didn't have a choice. 2011, probably LeBron is the biggest one at fault in that one. 2014, I just want to give collective blame. But again, this is what I don't want to do. I don't want to be like excusing failures. We are not going to excuse we're not going to excuse losing. Losing is losing. You lost. However, context can and should be added, and it's not as quick as saying, for example, this guy lost 6 times, he's a bum. I mean, it's not like that. There's reasons why, but again, we're not really going to excuse losing. The reason why we love basketball so much is because of the culture of winning, and the things guys like Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, what they built up in this NBA, a culture of winning, and that's what we try and uphold for the most part.
Most biased stats of all time, and should not be used negatively against him as often as it is. When LeBron's Cavs lost to the Spurs in 2007, LeBron had drug a deadweight supporting cast that had absolutely no...
Again, 2007, I don't put any blame on LeBron. That team was ass, and the Spurs team was just so much better, to the point that he just got swept.
No business being there, and he was going up against the dynastic Spurs of Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. LeBron getting that team to the finals was a powerful moment in strengthening his legacy, but because it was a finals loss, it's simply and naively used in the 3-6 final stat to discredit him. When LeBron lost in 2011 as part of the Heat, that was the one series where you could understand the criticism he received. He underperformed that series, and if he played just up to his usual standards, the Heat probably end up beating the Mavericks that series. He lost to a loaded Spurs team in 2014 with Kawhi, Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili, and not to mention Wade was still dealing with
an aging Duncan, an aging Ginobili, and an aging Tony Parker. Let's add that. Let's add context overall. LeBron lost to that team. All these guys were aging. As we said, they won in 2007. 7 years later, when they were in their prime. 7 years later, are they still in their prime? Yeah, prime, but that primes go like this. You end up dropping. Maybe here, but they weren't as good as they were in 2007. And this was LeBron at the peak of his power. So I don't want to really be giving excuses to 2014. The guys lost
with injuries and was not able to perform up to his usual standard. In 2015, the Cavs lost to the Warriors with Steph, Clay, and Iggy, but LeBron's two best...
A young Steph, a young Clay, a young Iggy. It was their first time in the finals, unproven, unchecked.
Best teammates, Kyrie and Love, both basically missed the entire series. Because of health, the Cavs never had a realistic chance. The Cavs should have lost in 2016 as well, but we all know that LeBron was out of his mind that series and pulled it off.
And there you go. Like, LeBron was able to play like this in this series, so he could have played like this in 2011, he could have played like this in 2014, he could have played like this in 2015, so if we're going to praise him for his success, let's not excuse his losses. I love LeBron, he's my favorite player of all time, but when we're trying to construct these GOAT arguments, again, context is going to be added for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Context is going to be added for everything.
As far as the losses to the Warriors in 2017 and 2018, that was up against two of the most star-heavy teams in NBA history. Seriously, replace LeBron on that Cavs team with anyone, A prime MJ, Kobe, Wilt, Shaq, I don't care who. I'm still not confident they're beating the 17 and 18 Warriors. When you take all of these things into consideration and are able to see the full context, you begin to see why these finals losses have stacked up for James. He's played throughout his career predominantly for a franchise that had been obsolete for decades.
That's why he had to leave. That's why he had to leave. As much as Bulls fans love to discredit crowds, and I'm not saying all Bull fans, but for example, you saw in that award ceremony the way they were just booing the guy. I'm not saying Jerry Krause was amazing or he was perfect, but what he did for the Bulls as a general manager is definitely impressive. The way he was able to build that team, and Jordan had someone. I'm not saying Jerry Krause was the reason Jordan won, but at least Jordan had someone who was at least trying to give Jordan something to go and win. LeBron with that Cleveland team, they weren't trying to give him nothing. That's why he had to go to the Heat, because he said, "Bro, if I stay in this franchise, I'm never going to win anything." So he had to leave.
He's had multiple finals opportunities ruined due to injury-labored teammates, and he's simply the best player in the wrong era. Yet despite all of these unfortunate circumstances, he still managed to secure 3 championships and 3 finals MVPs. Now imagine if these circumstances had just been slightly different. What if LeBron's teammates had...
Again, we're not excusing losing. Losing is losing. Yes, context can be added, but let's not excuse losing.
been healthy for those finals series, or if he played his career out for a more attractive franchise. What if KD never joined the Warriors, which essentially ruined the balance of power in the NBA? These are the kind of obstacles James has faced throughout his career that many other of the greats never had to deal with. If these circumstances had been different, we would likely be looking at 5 or 6 championships for LeBron.
But then at that point, you can make that argument for everyone. You could say, for example, what if Kobe never lost in 2004? And if him and Shaq stayed together, or if Kobe was able to stay healthy in 2011 with Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, maybe we're talking about Kobe having 6 and being 6-0. You know, you can make that argument. You can talk about Jordan. You can say, oh, what if that Bulls team had stayed together for another year? Maybe Jordan's now 7-0. So again, we're not going to make these abstract arguments. We're not going to come up with these theories, because what's happened has happened. Now, again, context should and will always be added in this channel, but we're not going to excuse losing. As we've seen, LeBron is a great player. I said he's my favorite player of all time. There are many reasons why he could be the GOAT. We're going to make a final video in all of this and talk about, and probably make a tier list, but, you know, as I said, we're not excusing losing.
Can you imagine if that had been the case? You can't tell me that if LeBron had 5 or 6 rings, ended his career as the all-time leading scorer and the all-time leading playoff scorer, and was the only 30,000 point member to also have over 10,000 assists, that he wouldn't be universally recognized as the greatest player of all time. His resume would simply be too strong. Whether you like him or not, LeBron's resume speaks for itself. Despite all of his unfortunate obstacles, the King has still managed to win 4 MVPs and 3 rings, and sits atop many of the all-time lists statistically, which will only grow more extensive as his career progresses. This is why LeBron James is the greatest player of all time.
Thank you very much for watching to the end, guys. You're much appreciated. As per usual, if you want to help to grow this channel, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share. Do all these things to please help me grow this channel, and I'll see you guys soon.